Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, time for another Metal Earth build. Once again, I'm heading off the shores of the US to something very interesting looking, very unique looking. Today I'm going to build the Syney Opera House. Always been a fascinatingly shaped building and done for acoustics, no doubt. Each time I have one of my own. Let's open this up, see what's inside, and put it together. Let's take a look at the Syney Opera House. I believe this said this is the gold edition 3 sheets. There's one. Oh gracious. There's 2. And the last one is stuck. Oh, there we go. 3 sheets, rather large pieces. So that explains why there's so many sheets. And we have the directions, the older style. Tall, long ones. Just open this up to the front. Attempt to fold it in half. And on the top front of it, you have the Metal Earth 3D laser cut models, 360-degree view. This is the website to get to it, and I'm assuming a QR code, so you can just scan that and get to the 360 view. Line drawing of the completed model, a bit about insertion tabs, insertion holes, and fold lines. Needle nose pliers are helpful for assembly. We have, down here we have a legend of sorts. When you're going through the assembly flowchart and you see a blue circle by a connection, it's saying to insert that tab into its slot and bend it over 90 degrees. The green triangle is saying to insert it and twist it 90 degrees. And this is just a little tip that if you pull and twist, it makes it a little bit more secure. And then we have one of the sheets here. See if I can't find just that one as an example. Sheet A, apparently. I don't know that I've noticed them being lettered like that before. And it just points to all the different parts on the sheet so that you can find them to put them in the model. And then we have the other 2 sheets over here. And here we have the start of the assembly flowchart. And this interesting little thing here, part 1, which is a rather large part, and I'm guessing these are where you're supposed to fold them at. We look at one of these parts that connect beside it. I believe this is 3. You can kind of see it's a little bit angular, it's not flat, so this is, I guess, an indication of where to bend it at so that it fits in that form. And that will usually make more sense when I actually start putting it together. And at the bottom of this section, we go down to the bottom of the page to this section, pick up with 4 and 5 and keep building the model, and then jump over to this section, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Once you get to the bottom there, we flip to the back side. And this is where it gets more busy. We have 17, 18, 19. You just follow the arrows around in each section, putting things together and folding them as necessary. Jump down to the bottom half over here. Almost finished. We're adding in all these parts. Jump over here, finishing up with those, adding it to the base, and then we're all done. Let's take a moment to talk about the tools that I use. This is my standard set that I use in most every build. I have long needle nose pliers and flat nose pliers, useful for a variety of different things. I have flush clippers that I use to cut the parts off the trees. It makes it quick and easy. And then I have some precision tweezers, one with a very pointed end, one that's had the pointed end ground down slightly, and one with a flat, sort of curved end. Great for getting into curved areas. And then I have a standard set of tweezers with an angled tip. These come in one of the Iconics models, and I love them and use them a lot. I have a sculpting set here that I occasionally use, and they have all kinds of different shaped ends on them. Some flat, some angled, some spoon. There's a couple of hooks. They're useful for reaching in and bending and pushing and pulling tabs and shaping parts from the inside. We looked over the directions. It looks like this is going to kind of get off to a quick start with the larger pieces and then slow way down towards the end. We've got our metal sheets, some tools to get me started. Let's put this together. I suggest using parts 2 and 3 as a guide to shape the odd angles on part 1. Holding the side pieces still while bending over the tabs can be real tricky. I managed to do it, but if you are having trouble, you can try a little trick I sometimes use, where instead of bending the tabs, twist them slightly, just enough to hold them, then later, when more of the model is built, come back, untwist, and bend the tabs over. I had such a hard time stretching part 11 across 10 and getting the tabs into their slots. You may have to bend and distort things a bit to get it all together, then straighten it back up. I tried clipping the end of one tab a little, but that really didn't help. This time I tried not to bend the sides in quite so far for this assembly, hoping that would allow the tabs in their slots better, but it did not work. This time I pulled the center tab back out and let part 15 bend or curve enough to get the side tabs in, then fought to push the center tab back in. It helps to get that center tab in if you put a bit of a curve on the roof piece. I think I put part 19 on backwards with the wrong side facing out. Part 23 and 24 are oddly angled parts, and trying to translate from a two-dimensional picture to a three-dimensional model is a challenge. I am not completely sure I bent all the angles correctly, but I did the best I could and it turned out okay. Like the similar pieces before, I think I bent these tabs the correct way, but I'm not completely sure. Again, in the end, everything fits, but it may not be completely accurate. Time to attach the roof pieces. I got the front two tabs in, but no matter how hard I tried, I could not get the second set of tabs in place. I ended up just skipping them. You may have to do some stretching or compressing of the roof assemblies to get all the tabs into their slots. In this video, I cut out some parts where I tried numerous times to get a part to fit or had to make multiple adjustments to something to allow it to fit. I try to show a little bit of everything, but sometimes you may see in a video that I make one or two adjustments, when in reality I made many more. I do that to move the build along. These builds take time. Be patient, take your time, and be prepared to make numerous test fits and adjustments during this or any build. Sometimes you just have to take it one tab at a time. I thought I would use my usual trick of bending long sides over by pushing against the table, but the areas around the sides of this model are a bit thin, and it didn't work out as well as I hoped, but using pliers would have likely warped things too. I seem to have cut my finger on something. And I present the Syney Opera House. This one I've been wanting to do for some time. I've kind of put it off in favor of other models, but I've been looking forward to it for a while because it is very recognizable and unique structure, and though I don't really know much about it, I know what it is because it's one of those things you see that and you hear that's the Syney Opera House and you don't forget. And this model took a good 2 hours to do. It seemed to take quite a while. It's not complicated, but it is. Some of the parts, the way they came together was very thing, like there's one tab on the front, it's the only thing holding that on. You're trying to balance these parts until you can get it together in a more secure form. The top pieces, the roof pieces, the very uniquely shaped pieces, the first couple ones were a little tough to figure out. Then I got the hang of it and it wasn't hard to do. I could do it pretty quickly. The one difficult part is a little folded section in between the bigger pieces and the one little one facing backwards. And once it came to actually putting these assembled roof sections on, that was challenging, especially for this one. Honestly, the ones holding down this sort of middle thing here never went into place. I got these secure, I got these secure, and you really can't tell. So I fought with it for a while trying to get it in there and just said, never mind, it looks alright. For this side, I thought for sure I was going to break these weird little folded parts here trying to stretch and get the tabs to reach all the different places, but it didn't, so thank goodness. As always, if you have any questions or comments or requests, feel free to leave them down below. Requests I'll get to as quick as I can, sometimes faster than others. Thank you for watching, and keep on keeping on.